What is going on, you guys? I'm coming to you today with a Superstar Destroyer video today to talk about some of the unanswered questions that we're going to have for the Superstar Destroyer for Star Wars Armada. Mainly, one very interesting one that I want to start off with is, can you lose before you even start the game? What I mean by that is, I have basically, I'm getting ready to try and run some practice games with a Superstar Destroyer. I've ordered a Bellator Star Dreadnought from Mel Miniatures, and that should be arriving hopefully within about a week or so. And then once I get that thing painted up and everything, I'll probably try to run some test battles. Now, I don't have the exact measurements. We know that it's 2 large ship bases with some space in between. So what I have done is I was, getting ready to kind of put that together, and I thought, well, what if somebody went with Fleet Ambush? So now Fleet Ambush is an interesting setup, and I don't think I would actually choose this one, but there still exists the possibility that it could be chosen. And if Fleet Ambush were to be chosen, and let's say I had the Superstar Destroyer, I chose Fleet Ambush because I didn't like the other 2 for whatever reason, and now I'm stuck deploying my ship. Suppose I only have 1 ship, which is very possible with a Superstar Destroyer, and I have to deploy it in the ambush zone. So suppose all of the obstacles get placed in the ambush zone. Now this is probably something that's more likely to arise in maybe a newer player's game. Somebody just gets into the game, doesn't really understand, the strategy on where to place obstacles. But considering that it is possible, I think it's worth addressing. So what would happen in this case? Well, there's not really a whole lot of room. Now, they can be placed a couple of different ways, but let's say if all the obstacles get placed in the ambush zone, you can easily run out of room, or you can't place your Superstar Destroyer anywhere, horizontally, and you might run into a case. Now, what I've done is, in estimation, I just put 3 large bases kind of together, and I put the middle one up on top of the other 2 a little bit, just to kind of estimate. But after just playing around with it for a little while, it became very apparent to me that you can easily kind of cut off all deployment methods for the Superstar Destroyer to fit completely within the ambush zone. Now, the one option you may come up with is vertical, but still, it's extending beyond at the top and the bottom are both kind of going beyond. Now, again, this is partially subject to change because I don't have the exact measurements. It may be a little bit shorter than that, but at the same time, I could easily just kind of fudge the obstacles a little bit. My point is, there exists an obstacle placement where you can't legally place the Star Destroyer in the ambush, or the Superstar Destroyer in the ambush zone. So I wonder what happens in that case, because it says you cannot place the ship. So if you cannot place your ship, you have no ships on the board, therefore your opponent gets 400-point win right away. So obviously this is not going to really be the case. There's going to have to be either there is already a rule that precludes this possibility from happening. Perhaps the Superstar Destroyers also get immunity to special deployment cases, or maybe Superstar Destroyers bypass the rule and they are allowed to be placed over obstacles even when an objective says you cannot. Perhaps there's some type of rule for this. Or perhaps there will be an errata to a lot of cards as they apply to huge class of ships or Superstar Destroyers themselves specifically. My thinking is there will actually be a lot of errata that specifically is designed to fit huge class ships, which I have no problem with. It will be a little bit tricky for newer players getting into the game to have to deal with errata, but in this case, it makes perfect sense, and I don't think you'll have as much frustration amongst new players if there is errata, because of the fact that, well, this ship just came out and it's a whole new class of ships, so we do have to errata stuff. So my expectation is that you will see erratas to a lot of cards that were designed with a game that did not have huge ships in it, because it is possible to deploy the obstacles such that the first player cannot deploy their huge ship in the ambush zone if ambush zone is selected, which is interesting to me. So you, in theory, the second player would win right away because first player can't deploy their ships. We actually saw something like this happen with X-Wing recently that was going to cause some immediate errata. So what else is next? Well, first off, another question that needs to, that I expect will be errated is Mahdi. I heavily expect that Mahdi is going to provide additional hull also for huge ships. The most obvious answer is maybe he'll give them 4. But it might be more than 4 because the cost is so much more. Might be 5. I could see 5 being a number. Or maybe he won't give them any. Maybe they have enough as is. Maybe Mahdi won't be errated. Although I have a hard time thinking that he's going to give, a Raider an extra hull, but not a Superstar Destroyer. So I do expect Mahdi to be errated. Or perhaps for cards that address large ships, maybe huge ships are included within large ships. Maybe there'll be a subset. There's other cards too. And there's a lot of them. I'm not going to talk about every one of them, but let's talk about hardened bulkheads, which is large ship only. Currently cannot go on a Superstar Destroyer as far as we know. But I think this is going to be almost one of those crucial upgrades for a Superstar Destroyer. I think hardened bulkheads is like almost an auto-include because you're so big, people are going to be ramming you all the time, whether they want to or not. So it's almost crucial. I mean, that's kind of how this thing died, right? By not having hardened bulkheads? Well, maybe. But yes, so I think hardened bulkheads is going to be one of those auto-includes for any Superstar Destroyer or any huge ship. And to say that they can't take it would seem a little bit strange. So I expect this to be errated as well. Minister Tua is an interesting one. And this one goes in the opposite direction. Now, the Superstar Destroyer that we have already, the command prototype, does not have the defensive retrofit. However, it stands. That's only the cheapest of all of the Superstar Destroyer cards. It stands to reason that one of them is going to have defensive retrofit. I would bet you that at least one of them, if not maybe the other 3, are going to have a defensive retrofit. So, considering that, will you be able to? Because if you go strictly as written, Minister Tua would still be able to give it an extra defensive retrofit. And, considering that she said she has a restriction of, not being able to go on a medium or large ship that already has one. Well, it seems to me that Minister Tua should also probably be restricted to not be able to go on a medium, large, or huge ship that already have one. So that means she would still be able to go on the command prototype, but maybe not on the Super Deluxe version that has defensive retrofit already. Little things like this. And again, a lot of these, Governor Price, another one, medium or large ship only. Well, of course, she would be fantastic on the Star Dreadnought. I can't think of any reason why not to include her as being able to go on a Superstar Destroyer, especially if it's especially if you're running a one ship build. Yeah, we know it can stall, but to be able to guarantee it goes last is going to be huge. And if you're only running one ship, I think that's a great option. So I would expect Governor Price as well. And just about anything that says large ship only, I think should be included to also go for these guys. I can't really think of any good reasons why not. But I think it'd be great. So, considering that we have, all of these things that I'm thinking, well, this will probably be errated. I'm gonna throw one more out there. This is gonna be a bonus one, and this is gonna be one that I hope gets errated. Before I cover this one, though, I do want to remind you guys there is another giveaway. Still have a few more days left to enter for an Armada core set. All you have to be is a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos, my Armada specific videos, and I'm giving away an Armada core set in the hopes to kind of foster maybe somebody out there has not been an Armada player, and maybe the cost is one of those barriers to entry for you. So, if you'd like to win an Armada core set in the form of a Cool Stuff gift card, all you have to do is become a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other Armada videos, and it will be announced the end of this week. So, stay tuned for that. All right, so Superstar Destroyers hopefully will give us an errata to somebody that I really, really like, or would like to see better, and that's Constantine. Here's what I'm hoping for Constantine. I'm hoping that if he's on it, basically he gets errata to be like, oh, and if he only has to have one, huge class ship. So again, if you're at range 1 to 5 of 2 medium or large ships, or hopefully he'll get the or 1, because you have 2 large ship bases on the Superstar Destroyer. So, maybe you could just put that little word bases, or just or one huge ship. I think that would be really cool. Again, that's more of a hard change of function with Constantine, but I think it would work. But I'd like to hear what you think. Do you think Constantine would have a little more use if you could basically get his effect with only one huge class ship? I think that would be cool. I still don't think it would put him top tier. I don't even think it would move him up all that much. But I think it would give him just a little bit more usability. And especially because I think, if not, his usefulness goes down even further because of the fact that, you're so much less likely to be able to, have multiple medium and large ships if you want to use a superstar destroyer. So, come on, let's try and give Constantine a break here. I think if you can use his ability on just a single huge ship, I think that would be great. With you using, obviously you'd be able to slow down another huge ship or something like that. But they're going to nav and get a token anyway, so they can totally counter his effects. So it's not really that big of a deal to use him against, another huge ship. Only thing you're doing is you're forcing them to do nav, which, honestly, with no clicks on the yaw or whatever, the Superstar Destroyer may want to do nav every turn anyway. But that's what I think. I would love to hear what you guys think. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Click that bell for alerts. Check out Crabbok.com. Hop in Discord. Say hi to us over there. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.